All right, we are on Kof Zayin. We're actually going to finish the Perek tonight and start a new Perek. These are relatively short Perekim, and there's 24 Perekim altogether. So we're only at the 13th, so another 11 to go. So they'll move pretty quickly. We're going to end off this Perek talking about trapping, and the next Perek is going to talk about wounding and killing animals. And we're gonna find the famous Talmud about lice eggs, about which there had been much controversy. So that's coming up today.
Continued debate.
I don't know if it's continued debate, but continued controversy. I haven't heard much about it. Okay, so we'll see. Get to see the context. I think you'll find that interesting. All right, Mishnah states. ישב האחד על הפתח ולא מילאוהו, ישב השני ומילאוהו, השני חייב. So if a deer runs into a house, it's not trapped because it can always go out. But let's say rather than close the door, if I close the door, that's trapping. But rather than close the door, I just sit at the entrance. And therefore, if I fill up, one person fills up the entrance, and so the deer can't go out, then that person who sat there is hayav. Okay, what if I'm sitting there, and I didn't fill up the whole entrance? There's still room for it to go around. And then someone else comes and sits next to me at the entrance. And now the second person caused it to be full. So only the second person is chayav. Because the first person, when I sat there, wasn't trapped. The second person was caused it, right? This is different from the previous Mishnah, which says if two people close the door because it's a heavy door, then they'd both be chayav. So that's a slightly different case. This is one after the other. But what if it was a smaller entrance? I sit in it and I fill up the whole thing. It's trapped. A second person comes, sits next to me, and just adds another layer, another barrier. But it was already trapped, so the second guy didn't do anything. Right? In that case, the second guy will be patur. Wait, but what if the following happens? The first guy to sit now gets up and leaves. So what you have is only the second person is there. Harishon hayav, hasheni patur. Still, the second person is patur. Why? Because when the second person sat down, it was already trapped, so he didn't do anything. Now the first guy leaves, all I'm doing is sitting. I'm just sitting there. You can't say a person's chayav for continuing to sit, right? He's not doing anything active. And therefore, still, the first person is the one that chayav, sheni patur. So that's a pretty interesting case. What is that like, the second case? Let's say there had already been a deer in the house, and the door was closed. I just locked the door. So I'm adding a higher level, but it's not like the deer could go and open the doorknob anyway. So I'm just adding a second layer. That's definitely mutar. Not only is it patur, it's allowed to do. You could lock, if the gate's already closed, you could lock the gate, you could lock the door. All right, that's the Mishnah. That's going to lead to the following discussion. Amar Rabbi Abba, Amar Rabbi Chaya bar Ashe, Amar Rav. Nichnesa lo sipor tachat kenafav, yoshev u'meshamero ad shechtechshach. You're sitting around, and a bird comes and flies under your into your coat, into the fold of your clothing, and it gets stuck there. So I could just leave it there. It gets stuck. I'll just keep it there until after Shabbat, and then it's trapped. In other words, it trapped itself. I didn't do anything actively, so I'm allowed to just keep it there. That's the same law. Metib Rab Nachman bar Yitzchak yashab harishon al hapetach umil'ahu, uba hasheni v'yashab besido, af al pi she'amad harishon v'halach lo, harishon hayav v'hasheni patur. My love patur aval asur. So Rav Nachman asks a question about that. Usually, regarding Hilchot Shabbat, whenever it says patur, patur means that you don't have to bring a korban or any other punishment if you did it by mistake, but still asur at a lower level, asur midirabanan. That's almost always what it means. And so too, in this case in the Mishnah, although you're only adding, you're just sitting there, the second person is remaining sitting there after the first guy leaves, so he's patur, but doesn't mean he's allowed to sit there. He still is now guarding it and causing it to be trapped. So maybe it means patur aval asur, that he should actually get up. And if so, that's a question about Rav, because Rav says yoshev, he can lechatechila sit and keep the bird in his coat the whole Shabbat, which sounds like mutar. So isn't that a question? This is patur, but usually patur is patur about asur. This is lo, patur mutar. When our Mishnah says patur, it means that the second guy's allowed to stay there. And so to the bird that goes into the guy's coat fold, he's allowed to keep it there. And in fact, this makes sense. This can be proven from the last case in the Mishnah, which is like locking the door. And clearly that's allowed. You're allowed to lock the door. If you have an animal in your house, you have a pet or something, right? You're allowed to lock the door. No one would say that would be a problem. And so therefore, since that case is patur, and the second to last case is like that case, patur here means patur umutar. Patur mutar shema mina. Okay, so there you go. Here is a case where patur does mean mutar. We'll see if there are any other cases. Now, this whole discussion where Rav said a statement and then Nachman questioned it, we have a different version of it. Ika de amre. Ika de amre indicates a different order or a different process, but it's all the same sources and it gets to the same conclusion. It was just remembered differently by different students. So here it's Amram Nachman Bar Yitzchak. Afana nami tenena. Rather than starting off with a question about Rav, they start off with a proof for Rav. They say, we agree that if a bird goes into your coat, you can keep it there, because the Mishnah says, patur. Two people sit. The first one leaves, the second one stays. He's patur, and this is similar. You're just being passive, so passive watching is okay, is mutar. Maila patur mutar, and I think that means patur mutar. So he's backing it up. And then the Gemara brings it as a question. Lo, patur aval asur. No, maybe it means patur aval asur is not allowed. So that would not be a proof. From the last case of the Mishnah of locking the door, that's clearly something that not only is patur, but it's also mutar. So we prove in the end that it is mutar. So basically the same thing, just instead of a question and an answer, it's a proof and then a challenge and then a resolution. Okay. Amar Shemuel. Called Peture de Shabbat Patur Aval Asur. Here's a very important principle. Now he's going to summarize the whole thing. Every time it says Patur regarding Chot Shabbat, it means Patur, but still Asur. Midrabanan. Lebar Mahane Telat Patur Mutar. There's only three exceptions to this. Hadaha. One of them is the one we just mentioned. And how do we know that one where we just mentioned is Patur Mutar? Tekatane Sefa. Right, you can see that Shemuel probably said a statement not right after that, but he said it independently. So that so he repeated the Mishnah from which we learned that. So that's one case. Another one. Someone has a boil on their skin and they want to make an opening in the boil. If it's to make it an opening permanently because you want it to air to get in and to heal that way, but you want it to be open for a while, then chayav, because that's you're making a chabura, making a wound. But if your goal is just to take the pus out, so then it's just temporary. You just want to get the pus out now, but I don't want the hole to be there. So the first one is davar shemit kayem. Second one is first destructive, is davar she'eno mitkayem. I'm just using it for another purpose, so therefore patur. And in this case, when it says patur, it doesn't mean patur val asur. Means mutar. Patur mutar ditnan. Machat shel yad yitol ba'takotz. Because we have another Mishnah we learned a while ago that you can handle a needle on Shabbat. It's not considered mukseh. Why? Because you can use it to take a thorn out of your finger. So that means, you remember that, right? So that means that you are allowed, in fact, to make a little hole to get a splinter out of your finger, because you don't want the hole to stay there, right? You're just doing it to relieve that discomfort. And there it says mutar, you're allowed to do it. So to here, this is patur or mutar. That's case number 2. Case number 3, v'idach, hasad nachash b'shabbat, im mitasek bo shelo yishachenu patur, im lirfuah hayab. If you trap a snake on Shabbat, because you're trapping it because you want to protect yourself so that you won't get banned, patur. If you want to trap it because I want the snake scales, I want the oil, I'm going to use it for medical purposes, then I want the thing itself, that will be chayav. Now, how do you know the first case where I just want to protect myself? Maimai de patur mutar, as Shmuel says, titnan. כופין קערה על הנר בשביל שלא תאחוז בקורה, ועל סועה של קטן, ועל עקרב שלא תשח. Mishnah says these three things you're allowed to do. These are mutar. You can cover a flame, a lamp, so that it does, if it's a dangerous situation, so that it doesn't light the wall on fire. You can cover up excrement of a child so that it doesn't get dirty all over the place. And even though it's mukseh, and you can trap a scorpion on Shabbat so that it doesn't bite. So in these cases, although it might generally be the Rabbanan because of mukseh, but because it's dangerous situation, the rabbis permitted it. So these are, although it says patur, it means mutar. Okay, so there you go, three cases where patur means mutar. Hadran alach ha'oreg. Okay, chazakim bruchim for completing the 13th chapter.
Rabbi, on that last item,
yep,
it seems like comparing the Nahash to the Akrav is just like a very simple comparison as opposed to like the other ones where it was, I guess, like, you know, a little bit more of a step removed. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, the analogies aren't, you know, the snake is exactly analogous to the scorpion case. Like, I don't see what the hidush is there that they need to specifically mention.
Well, I mean, a good question. I get maybe the chidush is that snakes are trapped for other reasons. So it is common to catch snakes. So even though it's common to catch snakes, if your intention is not, then it's okay. Whereas scorpions, I'm guessing, are never are caught for their own sake. You don't use scorpion; they have nothing useful. And so even, you know, so that's you might think that only scorpions and not snakes.
I see. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so now the beginning of this Talmud is a little bit complex, but I'll try to make it as simple as possible, as clear as possible. Okay, Shemona shirasim hamorim batorah hasadan v'achobel behen hayab. Okay, so they have the 8 creepy crawlies in the Torah. The source of this is here. The zelachem hatameh basheretz. So these following things that are creepy crawlies are tameh. They have a special law of tum'ah. If they are dead, they give a high level of tum'ah. And so this is the mole, the mouse, the great lizard. That's 3 of them, and another 5 in the next pasuk. Hanakal koach leta'ah chomet v'hatin shamet. The gecko, the land crocodile lizard, the sand lizard, and the chameleon. All these are tameh. And then the concluding says these are temeh. Okay, we're going to see a machloket here about this. In general, this is regarding the laws of Tumah and Tahara, which are taught in Masechet Chulin. Okay, I'm going to give a little intro because this will make it much clearer. Regarding anything that is any animal that's tameh, any animal that's dead is tameh. But only the flesh is tameh, not the horns, the bones, the skin. If it's a thick skin, that's a hide. All those things are useful items. They are not tameh, only the flesh. Okay, so remember that principle. Now, the Mishnah in Chulin is going to talk about a human skin is considered fleshy, and so it's part of the flesh. So therefore, the skin of a human corpse would be tameh. But then we skip over here, and we have the od of the anaka koach leta'ah ve'chomet. Right. So these 4, according to the rabbis, this is the first opinion, Chachamim. 4 of these 8 have a thin skin, and thin skin means it will be tameh. The other 4 have thick skin, and therefore will be tahor. Okay, you got that? The way they learn this is from ele hatimeim, that it's coming to exclude something. All of these are tameh of the flesh, but only 4 of them are tameh with the skin also. And so ele, meaning of these, there's a limitation to the skin. Okay, so that's the first opinion. Rabbi Yehuda says leta'ah kachoda. He said strike the leta'ah. Leta'ah has a thick skin, and like the choda, all have thick skin. So he says 5 of them have hides and are therefore tahor, those hides, and only 3 of them are tameh. And the third opinion is Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri. He says Shemona Shirasim Yesh Lehem Orot. All 8 have thick skins, and therefore all 8 skins are tahor. So he's the most mekel, right? They all have thick skin. Okay, that's a 3-way machloket regarding the 8 shiratzim. All right, that's gonna remember that in the back of your mind for a second. Now, these 8 shiratzim have a law not only regarding tumah but also regarding Shabbat. If someone traps them or causes a wound in them, chayav. ושאר שכסים ורמסים, החובל בהן פטור, הסדן לצורך חייב, שלא לצורך פטור. How about anything else besides those 8? If someone causes a wound, patur. Now, why? How come if you cause a wound in these 8 chayav and those patur? We're going to see the Gemara is going to relate it to the thickness of the skin. These 8 which have a thick skin, chayav. The other items, other animals which have a thin skin, patur. Okay, why should having a thick skin matter if causing a wound or not? If you're causing a wound and making it bleed, like what's the difference? The Gemara doesn't make it clear. The Rishonim give various options. One is that in the creation of the Mishkan, they would kill animals not as sacrifices, because it's only about the building of the Mishkan. They would kill animals to get their skin, so only animals with hides. That's the one that they would trap. Those are important. Or it has to do with dyeing, and only things that are hides would be dyed. And the third option here, which I think makes the most sense as a simple meaning, is that the problem of wounding is drawing blood. It has to do with killing. You're not allowed to kill, and as a subcategory of that, you can't draw blood because you're taking out some of its life force. So if anything that bleeds, including causing a person or any animal you cause to bleed, that's going to be chabala. However, if you don't cause it to bleed, just black and blue, well, for a person, if it didn't come out, you didn't take out the life force. It's not so serious, right? Like a kid, falls, you say, oh, is he bleeding? Well, he's not bleeding. It must be okay. But if it has a thick skin, if it has a hide, then it could be a serious wound. It's just the hide is so thick, it's keeping it in, and it won't heal. It will never heal properly. Whereas a person, even if a person gets a black and blue, it will heal. Okay, so that's some of the theories behind this. But that's the main halacha is to remember is that if it has a hide, then chovel is hayav. If it has just thin skin, fleshy skin, then chovel, even causing a wound that doesn't bleed, causing a black and blue, is patur. So that's why the 8 shiratzim are chayav. Other ones, chovel behen, patur, because they have thin skin, and hasadan lesorech. All those, if you trap them because you need them, chayav, like we said about the snake. Shelo lesorech, if I don't need them, right, I just want to keep them away from me, just keep safe, then patur. Now, chayav ha'of shebirshuto, if I have some animals, some sheep in my pen, or a bird that's in a cage, hasadan patur. If I catch them, patur, because they're already caught, right? They're already enclosed, so I'm not doing anything. Hachobel behen hayav. If I harm them, if I cause a wound in them, hayav, because these things are we assume they have thick skin. Okay, the Mishnah is interesting in its literary form. It gives you every option. The first one is chayav and chayav. The second one is patur and chayav. The last one is chayav and patur. So it likes giving these showing that every different possibility can exist. Okay, that's the Mishnah. Now the Gemara says midikatani hachobel behen hayab mikala deit lehu or. So since it says the 8 shiratzim, if you cause a wound in them hayav, that means it has thick skin, right? Because only a wound under black and blue and thick skin is considered a real wound and would be chayav. And so they all must have a hide. Okay. Mantana, who is the author of this Mishnah? Right, who thinks that all 8 have a thick hide? Amar Shemuel, Rabbi Yochanan ben Nurihi. Right? Ditnan, Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri, Omer, Shemona shirasim, yesh lahem orot. We saw right here that he says all 8 shirasim regarding Tumah have hides, and since they have hides, those hides are tahor. See, having a thick hide is good regarding the laws of Tum'ah because it means the hide is a separate thing and not part of the flesh, and there's therefore tahor. but it's negative when it comes to Shabbat, because in Shabbat it means that it encloses a wound, and therefore those are woundable. Okay, so this makes sense, what Shmuel says, that all 8 have thick hides, because he said that regarding Tum'ah, so it's the same true. He must be the author of our Mishnah. Okay, so that's what Shmuel says, and right, Shmuel says this. We really could stop from here because I think Shmuel is the pshat, right? It makes sense. It fits 1-to-1. The problem is that we don't like to say that a Stam Mishnah, this is a Stam Mishnah, there's no opinions here, so we assume it's the majority opinion. We don't want to say that the Stam Mishnah here is only the opinion of Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri over there, because over there we saw that there's a majority opinion of Chachamim. And so now the Mishnah is not consistent, where something is a majority over there is a minority here, and the minority here is a majority there. And so we'd like this Mishnah to accord not only with Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri, but also with Rabbanan, who say only 4 of them. So we're going to try to reconcile them, and that's why it's going to get a little complex. Okay, so Rabba bar Rav Huna Amar Rav, this is Rav, the colleague of Shmuel, says no. Afilu tema Rabbanan. This can also be Rabbanan. Ad kan la peligi Rabbanan ale de Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri, ela leinyan tum'ah, dichtib ele hatemeim lachem, lerabot she'orotehem kibsaran. Says, Aval linyan Shabbat, afilu Rabbanan modu. He says that Rabbanan would agree regarding Shabbat. And over here, see, they have thick skin, and that's why it's causing a wound. Rabbanan also agree that they all have thick skin. So he agrees regarding Hilchot Shabbat. How about over there, that Mishnah? Well, over there he disagrees regarding Tumah, because the Pasuk goes out of its way and says, Ele, these should be Tameh. So it's adding an extra level of Tum'ah. So it's adding that the skin of some of them, or 4 of them, just not all of them, but 4 of them, they are like the flesh. Although they are thick skin and has a hide, the pasuk goes out of its way to say 4 of them are, half of them are an exception, and so that's why they really have thick skin, and you cannot make a chabura. This Mishnah can still be Rabbanan and Rabbi Yochanan ben Nur. Everyone agrees with this Mishnah, and that way he made peace on earth. Okay, good. So that's fantastic. But now we're going to have a couple of challenges to this. Ulian Shabbat la pelige, really? Chachamim and Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri all agreed on Shabbat. V'atanya, we have another braita that says, Hasad echad mishimona sherasim hamurim b'Torah, someone who traps any of the 8, v'chobel b'hen, or makes a wound in any of these 8 sherasim, is chayav. Dibrei Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. You see, it says explicitly that all 8 is only him, is only Rabbi Yochanan. Hachamim omrim en or ela lema shemanu chachamim. Says or skin only counts for what the sages in that Mishnah in Chulin counted. So you see, this Braita explicitly says, like Shemuel, it's a machloket. Okay, so now this is going to be hard to get out of, right? It seems that is in fact a machloket. You can't reconcile it. No, but we're going to do it anyway. Okay, so this language, en od ela l'mashem chachamim, that the skin is only what they counted there. If you remember in that Mishnah, they actually listed the things that are fleshy skin, not the ones that have hide skin. And so this, then this in the context here says hachobel behen chayav, meaning those have hides. And then Chamim says, en or, which sounds like a hide, except for what was counted there. It should say that which was not counted there. Right? It should be the opposite. So we say, Adrabah l'mashem Chamim en lahem or. Should have said what is absent there in that list. Avamad Abaye, hachika amar. In fact, Abaye says you have to re-understand or reread this baraita. It says, en or haluk me basar. There's no examples of skin that's separate from the flesh. In other words, hide. Ela l'mashelo manu chachamim. Only the things that are not counted there are hide. You see, from the way he formulates this, he's saying that the things that they listed that are not listed there are actual hide, and the ones that are listed are skin-like. So you see that according to Abaye, there actually is a real physical difference between the ones that Chachamim say are tahor, which have a hide, and the ones they say are tameh, which are flesh-like. So therefore, you can't say that they agree on all the things in regarding Shabbat, because in reality, Chachamim think that some are thick and some are thin. So they couldn't possibly agree here on Shabbat. That's Abaye. Amar Rava, Rava has another interpretation that will help us out. It says what they counted there, not what they didn't count. And your rereading is too much. You're reading too much into it. Ela Amar Rava Hachikamad en od mitameh kebasar ela lema shemanu chachamim. They said the skin, which is all hides, they're all thick skin, but they're not mitameh, they're not tameh, except for the ones that they counted. Now, those ones that they listed there, although they are hide, they have a law as if they were thin skin. And so according to Rava's formulation, he says, really rabbis think that they all have thick hides, and therefore that's good for his Shabbat. They think all 8, you make a wound. And over there, they made it a kind of a legal fiction because of the pasuk that says, treat 4 of them as if they have thin skin. So now we're okay. Okay, but we have but the Braita does say, Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri omer shemona sherasim yesh lehem orot velo metamein. But that does say that he says they have 8. Rabbi Yochanan says 8 of them have orot, and it sounds like the Rabban are disagreeing. Amar Rav Ada bar Matana teris hachi v'chamim omrim le'inyan tum'ah en or lema shemanu chachamim. So the rabbis are disagreeing that they say, yes, we agree that it has thick skin, but only regarding tum'ah, just you have to add in those couple of words, there is no skin, they're not considered like hide in that list that they gave. And so this is yet another way of explaining the Braita, and so it can fit with Rav's opinion. Okay. So what we have here to quickly summarize is that although the Mishnah says all 8 sheratzim are chovel behen chayav, make a wound a chayav, and that implies that all 8 have thick hide-like skin. The Mishnah there in Masechet Chulin said that's the opinion of Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri, who says all 8 are tahor, and so we saw the opinion of Shemuel, which seems like the simpler reading of the Braita, says this one would be a machloket, but Rav comes and says even Rabbanan would agree. In fact, all 8 have thick skin, and Tumah is an exception over there. And so our Mishnah could be according to everybody. Okay, we're not out of the woods yet. Still, really, is it true that regarding Shabbat, everyone agrees that they have thick skin and therefore they chayav if you wound them? We have yet another Braita that says, if you trap any one of the 8, or if you wound them, hayav, that's true regarding the ones that have a hide. In other words, only some of them have a hide. And that's the opinion of Chachamim. Not all of them have a hide. The Braita adds, by the way, that what is called a chabura, something that will not get better, won't go back to the way it was. Nisrad hadam afapi shelo yatsa, and that's where the blood collects and causes a black and blue. Even if it doesn't come out, that's still called a wound. Okay, that's all Chachamim. Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri omer shemona sheshim yes lehem orot. It says all 8 have orot. So you see here that only he says all 8 have orot, and the first opinion, Chachamim say only some have orot. And so it's clearly, it's not just a legal fiction. They really don't have thick skins, all of them. Amar Rav Asher, now all that work we did before, we're going to do with that. Amar Rav Asher, man tanakama, Rabbi Yehuda dazel batar gishta. You know who the opinion of this is? It's not Chachamim, but rather Rabbi Yehuda. If you remember in the Mishnah Chulin, Rabbi Yehuda says only 3 of the 4 only 3 of the 4 have thin skin. Right, 5 of them have a thick skin, and he goes by the actual thickness, the actual texture. In other words, he's following just science, not because a pasuk said so. You feel it, and this one is like that one. But the rabbis are different there. They're fundamentally different. The rabbis who disagree with Rabbi Yochanan ben ben Nuri, over there, they only disagree regarding Tum'ah because of the pasuk, but the skin is actually all hide skin, and therefore, regarding Shabbat, wounding would be the same. If that's true, when it says in the Braita, the majority, the anonymous opinion. Then the Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri should have said he umachalukto, and those who disagree with him regarding Tumah, they all say this. You shouldn't have just said only him. You're right. You know what? We'll add that word in. We'll read it from now on as follows: that in fact, the first opinion is Rabbi Yehuda. He says you actually look at the skin, and there's a difference between in Tumah and Shabbat. But the other, Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri and Rabbanan, they all think that they have thick skin, and therefore they're all on the same page regarding Shabbat. Okay, so that concludes that section, and so if that was a little confusing, then this is a good time to come back. Okay, so what we've established is that our Mishnah can in fact be the majority opinion, go according to Rabbanan over there. Now I have another question. Well, what does that mean? How come you're defining a wound as something that is irreversible, a permanent wound? Tichtib hayafoch kushi oro venamed habar burotav. Right, pasuk in Yirmiyah says, "Can a leopard, can a Cushite, right? Can an Ethiopian person with dark skin, can he change the color of his skin? And can a leopard change its spots?" Right? Okay. So it's giving an analogy to Bnei Israel, and so you look over there what the context is. But anyway, that point has the word chabar burotav, which is like chabura. My chabar burotav, what does that mean? Is it talking about the colored spots that are on a leopard? Should have said leopard and its colors, right? It shouldn't use this word, which sounds like wounds. Ela kakushi ma'oro de kushi ena hozeret av habura ena hozeret. Rather, it's saying as follows: not talking about a leopard, but rather named in the sense of lehamir, to change. And you read the pasuk as follows: Can a Cushite person change the color of his skin? No. Can someone who has a chabura, a wound, change it and the chabura get better? No. So therefore, you see that the word chabura means something that is an irreversible wound. Okay, so that's how we learn that. Ushar shekasim. Now, we said that only those 8 has that law, but the other shekasim. Here, let's go back and look at it. Ushar shekasim urmasim hachobel bahen patur. Right? If you wound them, it's okay because they have thin skin, and if you capture them, the sorech hayav shelo the sorech patur. You're patur if you don't need it itself. Then capturing them is patur. So the Gemara is here is going to derive, capturing is patur. Ha horgan hayav. Since it only mentioned capturing, which is a problem, that means if you kill it, even if, no matter what, right, then hayav, even if it's not something that you needed. Mantana, who thinks that killing things, killing anything like this would be chayav? Amar Rabbi Yirmiyah, Rabbi Eliezer he detanya. Rabbi Eliezer omer, hahoreg kina b'Shabbat, kohoreg gamal b'Shabbat. Rabbi Eliezer was very machmir regarding killing animals and insects. He says if you kill a louse, it's like killing a camel, right? The point is, even though it's very small, it's a life. And therefore, just like it's the same as killing a camel. Killing anything is a problem, is chayav. Matkif la Rav Yosef. Ad kan lo peligei Rabbanan aled Rabbi Eliezer ela bekina dena para v'raba. Aval shar shekasim mashim defarinu v'rabin la peligei. Hold it. The rabbis disagree with Rabbi Eliezer. It is true regarding a louse, but only regarding a louse, because lice do not reproduce and they don't procreate. And so therefore they're not alive like other things are alive. So you can kill them. But anything else, no matter what, even if it's not one of the 8, they would agree that you cannot kill them, and so you can't bring this as a proof, right? So therefore, that our Mishnah is not only the Eliezer, but can count for everyone. Okay, so what you see here is the same methodology as before. Whenever we find a Mishnah like ours that is anonymous, we want to make sure that it fits with the majority opinion in other places, right? And so look what a long thing we went through just now to arrive at that. Here too, we have a machloket between Rabbi Eliezer and Abanan regarding a louse. And you might think that this is regarding all kinds of creepy, crawly things or things that procreate a lot, that they would have the same machloket. And so, therefore, Rabbi Eliezer would be the author of a Mishnah that says Hayav. But we said, no, we don't want to say that. So therefore we say the lice is an exception, and only lice is different because it doesn't procreate. That's why Rabbanan says you're allowed to kill it. But regarding anything else, they agree. Then therefore Rabbanan can be the opinion of the Mishnah. Okay, so I think that's really the motivation here. Anyway, both of them derive it from the rams, because we associate Hilchot Shabbat with which was done in the Mishkan, and they used ram skins. They had to kill rams and take their skins. Rabbi Eliezer sabar ke'elim, ma'elim yesh b'hem netilat neshama, of course yesh bo netilat neshama, just like they killed elim, and elim are alive. They're not only rams, not going to say only killing rams is not allowed Shabbat. Anything that's alive, also you're not allowed to do. And lice are alive. Everyone agrees with that. No. What's significant about rams? That they reproduce. So to anything that reproduces, but lice do not reproduce naturally. They just spontaneously generate. They're just kind of there. I guess it's kind of strange that you don't know where they come from, and all of a sudden they're there. So therefore, he said that's why the rabbis say that anything that reproduces like rams. Hold on, but the rabbis teach that God sits all day. What does He do? He provides sustenance for all beings, from the strongest, the horns of the wild ox, down to the tiniest, the eggs of lice. Well, there you go. If it says eggs of lice, that means they reproduce normally. No, the Gemara rejects that. There's some species that's called besekenim. It doesn't mean the eggs of lice. It's just a species of some insect, and that's what it's called, besekenim. Okay, it seems pretty far-fetched, even for the Talmud. I don't know if they themselves would be convinced by that, but they would rather interpret this a little bit against the grain and be able to say that the Mishnah remains as Rabbanan and not only to be Eliezer. There's another place that lists the tifuyeh, some kind of insect, and betsekenim. Doesn't that also the eggs of lice? We have the same thing called betsekenim. Okay, it could be that they did know that there's such a thing as eggs, but it's very hard to see. They are seeable. Ask any mother that has a daughter with long hair. You can see them, but not every species. And the halacha is that the Torah was not given to angels. So if something that you can't see, then you don't have to regard it for halacha, right? If you have lettuce or whatever, there's bugs in it. If they're seeable, then you got to take them out. But if they're microscopic, then it's as if they don't exist. So it could be that they knew that they're there, but you don't have to regard them halachically. Okay. So another question. We have fleas, and they procreate. And there also, only to be Eliezer says that you're chayav for killing a flea. Yoshua says patur for killing a flea, and everyone agrees that those have eggs. עד כאן הפליגי רבי אליעזר רבי יהושע לדמה סבר דבר שאין במינו יסוד, חייב ומה סבר פטור. אבל עניין הריגה, אפילו רבי יהושע מודה. Rabbi Yoshe says you can't compare killing to trapping. Those are two different things altogether. Over there, Rabbi Yoshe and Rabbi Eliezer were talking about trapping. And Rabbi Eliezer says you're chayav for trapping anything. And Rabbi Yeshua says you're only chayav if you trap things that are normally trapped. You normally trap birds, normally trap deer. No one normally goes around and traps fleas, right? And so therefore, that would be patur. But killing, that's a different halacha. Anything that's alive, anything that live or procreates, you would be chayav for killing, and so that is not a proof. Okay. Anyway, so that's the source of the famous machloket about lice, and you can see the context of why they said that. Another possibility is that maybe they said that according to Chazal, lice are allowed to kill because they were so annoying, and we needed some kula. People were killing them anyway, and you wanted to melamid zechut, find some way out of it. And we know that lice was a problem because in the Dead Sea Scrolls, in the caves, among the Dead Sea Scrolls in the caves, we actually found a lice comb. Looks just like a lice comb that you might find today with those thin little teeth. So we know that they had lice in the olden days, and we know how much it bothered them, and so it might just kind of be inevitable that people would kill them, and so this is a way to be lenient on it. But from the literary context, I think the main force is so that our Mishnah can be according to all opinions. Okay, so next part of the Mishnah says Hasadan lesorech chayav. If you trap something, one of these things, one of the other creepy crawlies besides the 8, if you need it for itself, chayav. Mantana, who is the author of this Mishnah? Amar Rabbi Yehuda Amar Rabbi Shimon he Amar melacha shena sedicha legufa patur aleha. Right, this is a general category. Rabbi Shimon is always mekel in the laws of Shabbat, and he has a general rule: if you have doing a melacha, but it's not for the sake of the defined goal of the melacha, then patur. And trapping, generally, you trap things because you want the item. But if you're trapping only to protect yourself from the item, to keep it away, then that is melacha shen tziricha legufa. I'm not doing the melacha for the stated purpose of the melacha, which will be to get and keep the thing that I am trapping. So he says all those things are patur, so he could be the author of a Mishnah that says only if I trap for itself, I am chayav, not if I trap as protection because I want to keep it away. Ika dematnila, aha. Some people say that this statement of Rabbi Yehuda Amar Rav that says Rabbi Shimon he, this is a very good statement. You can apply it to lots of places. So we know that Rav said those words, and that's what's remembered. But we don't necessarily remember, or we do remember, and it's applicable in many cases. And so there are others who apply that statement, and maybe they did say the statement in multiple cases. In a general rule like this, it really could be. Some people apply it to a different Mishnah that says Hamefis Mursa b'Shabbat im la'asot tapeh chayav im lo simen alecha patur. Mishnah we already saw in the end of the last perek. I think it's very interesting literally that you have a continuity between the last perek and this perek, even though they're not separate units, but you see that they're composed all together. That the fact that we have a overlap between them. So over there, if you make a hole in a boil on Shabbat, if it's there to make a hole that you want it to stay, hayav. If it's only because you want to get the pus out, but you don't care that the hole should stay, then patur. Mantana, Amar Rabbi Yehuda Amar Rav, Rabbi Shimon he damar melacha she'en tzricha legufa patur aleha. So again, because I'm making the hole just to get the stuff out, not because I want the hole, so I'm not doing the melacha for its own sake, but rather just for something else, and therefore patur. Again, we also saw this just now. If you're trapping a snake because I want the snake, I'm going to use it to make some kind of potion, then chayav. But if not, I just don't want it to bite me, then patur. Mantana, who is the author of that Mishnah? I'm not trapping it for the sake of trapping, but rather to keep it away. Okay, so it applies to all these cases. Amar Shmuel, Hashole dag min hayam, kevan sheyabash bo kasela hayab. Okay, now another law just about trapping. If I take a fish out of the water, it's not dead yet when I take it out of the water, right? If I leave it flopping around and throw it back in, it's fine. So I didn't kill it by taking it out of the water. When is it called dead? Well, I don't have to wait till I chop it up and fillet it because, even before that, it'll still be dead. So what's the definition of death in a fish? If it's dried out as much as a as a coin. A coin's worth of the somewhere on the skin is dried out. Then even if I put it back in the water, it's not going to live. So that's called dead. Amar Rabbi Yosef bar Rabin uben sinapirav. This is that dry spot, not anywhere, but rather between its fins. That's where, when it dries up, that's the most dangerous, where it's breathing from. But if it's somewhere else, then it can come back to life. Amar Rav Asher la tema yavesh mamash ela afilu de'avad rireh. He is more mahmir. He says not totally dried out. Even if it's just some mucus goes on it, it's starting to dry out, then it's already beyond healing and can't go back to life, and therefore that's considered dead. Okay. Amar Mor bar Hamdure Amar Shemuel. Hoshit yado al me'ay behema v'dildel ubal shebemeiha chayav. If you cause an abortion in an animal, put your hand in and you disconnect the fetus from the womb. Chayav. You do it on Shabbat. Chayav. It's like oker. My ta'ama. Amar Rabba bar Hamdure asebareli lav Amar Rav Sheshat hayman de talash keshuta mehizmeh v'hige mechayev mishum oker davar migidulo. So Rava says that this teacher explained to him that it's like someone who detaches hops. Hops, very interesting. You make beer out of them. Hops are a parasite. A plant parasite. They don't have roots that go into the ground. They have a little root, no leaves. They have a little root that goes into another root of another animal, of some thorns, and they derive their sustenance from the other plant, and they grow from the sap of a different plant. So what is their status? Are they quite alive or not alive? And what if you cut them? So Rav Sheshat says, if you do cut hops on Shamat from the thorns that they're growing on, hayav, because you are removing it from where it grows, even though it doesn't go down to the ground like a normal plant. So too here, a fetus is growing from the uterus of the animal. This doesn't mean have to be in the ground. That's where it grows from. That's where it gains its sustenance from the mother's womb. And therefore, detaching it is the same as detaching a plant. Amar Abaye, Hayman de talash pitra me'una de hasba mechayev mishum oker davar migidulo. If someone takes mushrooms off the handle of a pitcher, that also is uprooting. Hold on, all these questions we can ask, we can challenge, because if we have a flower pot that has no hole in it, right? And you detach something from that pot. We had that case. Patur. If it has a hole in it, then it's getting sustenance from the ground. But if it doesn't have a hole in it, it's not getting sustenance from the ground. It's not the normal way things grow. And even though it's a regular plant growing, patur. And so too, all of these items, they are not growing from the ground. They're growing off of something else. And so just like this is patur, those should be patur. Hatam lav hainu debite, hacha hainu debite. No, it's different. In that case of the plant, that's not the normal way it grows. Most plants grow from the ground, and this one is different from normal. That's why patur. But in all these cases, with the hops and the fetus in the uterus, and what was the other case? And the mushrooms, that's the way that they grow. That's the normal way that they grow. None of them grow from the ground. And therefore, you're uprooting something from the normal way it grows, and that's why those are hayab. Baruch Adonai Olam, amen.